The Weekend UpNate.
The Weekend UpNate.
Your weekly recap of news, current events, and trending stories. Let's do this. The Weekend UpNate with your host, Nate Armbruster.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Weekend UpNate. I'm Nate, and this is my podcast. Thanks for tuning in. It's not late as much as it is the day of. You know what I mean? This is episode 50, by the way. 50. Can you believe that? Here I am nearly a year later, and minimal progress has been made, but I'm all right with that. I did, however, join a new gym. You guys may know, regular listeners, which I know there are so many of you, I've been going to Planet Fitness somewhat frequently all year. And finally, I decided, you know what? It's about to get real cold here in Chicago. And, you know, whenever I say that, it's like 40 degrees right now, and we're coming up on, mid-December almost. And it's like 40 degrees. I could walk a mile. This was my thinking, right, is the Planet Fitness is about maybe close to a mile from my apartment. Now, in perfect weather, on a nice day, that's a great walk. It's a beautiful day. Go for a stroll. You know, you walk through the neighborhood. You get to the gym. It's almost like a pre-workout. You know, but I had to be honest with myself. Okay, it's about to get real cold here at some point, and I know on those days, because this is what I told myself. I'm allowed. It's sad if I drive a mile to the gym in the city, right? But when it's like, 12 degrees out, nobody wants to walk a mile in 12 degrees, especially when you just got to change, and it becomes like a whole thing just to get to the place to work out. And it's just like, there's so many barriers there. And I'm like, you know what? I know myself. I'm a lazy bum. When it comes down to it, I know I won't do that. And then I was like, well, I'll allow myself to drive to the gym on cold days where I can't do the walk, right? Where it's just like too cold or too miserable. I'm like, I have a car. I can do that. That's acceptable as long as I make up for it when I'm at the gym, which then again, I know myself. I probably won't actually do that. So here's what I decided. I was like, knowing that I'll likely never go to the gym in the winter because it's too far. This is so sad. I found a gym. There's a gym a block away from me, and I mean a block. And it's a little more expensive, but in all honesty, it's a much nicer gym than Planet Fitness. Most gyms are nicer, right? Like this gym, you walk in, it's like clean, it's big, all the machinery is like new. It's in great. I mean, and don't get me wrong, some Planet Fitnesses are all right, but this is like a nice gym. This is where people who know how to work out. This is a judgment zone. You know what I mean? People are going to look at you and they're going to judge you for wearing khakis on the rowing machine. All right? So now I got to step up my game. I got to really know what I'm doing. And honestly, I think it somehow psychologically works. Like if you're at a gym where it's like, wow, this guy's ripped. Like he knows what he's doing. And I'm over here just dying on a treadmill. Ugh. And look, I know it's not right. You don't. That's not the point of it, because I'm just trying to like get somewhat healthy. All right, I'm not trying to look like John Cena or anything. I'm just trying to get healthy. And this is my other favorite part of the gym, is there is a sauna in the locker room. Now, I don't know if you guys are sauna people, but I highly recommend it. Okay, it's great because now you can go to the gym, and if you don't feel like working out, I can be like, hey, I'll be back in about an hour. I'm going to the gym. You go to the gym, maybe do a couple little things, do a couple exercises, and then you go to the sauna, and then you come out drenched in sweat, and then you walk home, and you look like you just ran a 5K. This is brilliant. This is a little life hack for you that I just thought I would share going into the new year, okay? You don't really have to work out when you go to the gym. You just have to sweat. That's all that people want to see is the results. And if you don't have a sauna at the gym, all you got to do is spray a little water on your shirts. Go get one of those spray bottles that you spray the machines down with. Spray your pits, right? Maybe under the boobs, male and female, okay? Because I got them. Get that boob sweat going. You'll be just fine. People will think you just worked out so hard. Look, sometimes you just got to look the part. That's all you need mentally to get over any of those barriers that you're telling yourself, right? That you just, I can't work out. It's too far. I can't work out. It's too cold. Just sit in the sauna, man. Oh, and I learned this today. If you sit in the sauna with your phone will break. Okay. So don't bring the phone in the sauna. It's not a good idea. All right. So what else is going on this week? I guess, I don't know, Kanye is officially, I think people are officially done with him. The guy said he loved Hitler or liked him. I mean, that's the same comment. I guess you can misquote that and still be pretty accurate, right? Like you can say love or like, and is one worse? I think they're pretty similar. I guess they both, and he tweeted a photo of a swastika inside a Star of David or something like that, or vice versa. And like, again, if I'm wrong, it's still, either way, it's probably equally bad. I don't think there's any way around that. And Elon Musk banned him from Twitter. The guy got unbanned, right? Or reinstated, whatever the term is, by Elon, king of Twitter. And he fucked it up. I'm just beating a dead horse. Is that the term? Beating a dead horse, beating a broken record. But the guy is just, I don't know. I just think he's got there's some people that I'm completely fine if they lose all rights to free speech. Is that bad to say? It might be. I don't know. I think it's clear that he's got nothing nice to add to society anymore. I mean, the guy, I don't like being someone who's like, just make the music, because that sounds mean and kind of shitty, right? I mean, sure, people, I mean, I guess he made some cool shit, right? People loved his shoes. I guess he made, he provided something of value to the world, right? It's just funny how seeing somebody reach such a successful peak in their career, like, I mean, billions of dollars, right? I mean, the guy he's got the entire world in his hands and just fucked it up just by, I mean, all you had to do was make cool music and like just give it to your fans. That, I don't know, all you have to do is make shit. That's everyone's dream. Anybody who's creative, it's like, that's all I want to do is, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, maybe, you can make a good living without being famous or a billionaire creatively, I guess. You can make a living, but I mean, to reach that level, it's like, dude, that's like, it's like unheard of. It's impossible. It's seemingly impossible, but I just don't understand how you mess that up, because that's what you wanted your whole life, right? Is to be able to make music or to make shit and put it out in the world, and people buy it and they support you, and you get that mutual, back and forth with your fans and stuff like that. And he fucked it up, It's crazy to me. Look, I might not be that good at anything, but if I ever made even $1 million, I'd be like, all right, this is pretty unbelievable. You know what I mean? I feel like I would at least appreciate it. I don't know. It's easier said than done, right? Because I'm broke as shit. Speaking of being broke, if you want to help me not be broke, you can keep an eye out for my first ever full-length comedy album coming out next month in January, which will be available on all platforms. And if you want info about that, go to my website, weekendupnate.com. Follow me on social media and join my email list, and that'll be the easiest way to stay up to date. Or just, it's easy to find shit now, right? That's the one thing always fascinates me as, I would even say a lower tier comedian, right? Like, no one gives a shit where I'm performing in most cases. But a big thing for comics at my level, right? Just kind of, bopping around the country in different clubs and venues or wherever they can get booked at. A big thing is like, hey, you get a text message or a Facebook message or an Instagram message from someone you haven't talked to in 5 years. And they're like, I see you're coming to town. Let me get some tickets. And I'm like, yeah, you go to the website and you buy your tickets. Person I haven't talked to in 5 years. It's in most cases, it's not even my call. All right. Like, I don't just give free tickets, right? The venue has to make money, especially who do you think I am? And this happens all the time. And it happens to everybody, musicians, artists, any sort of, it's like, if you want, people just ask for free shit. And I'm like, dude, I don't, like, also, I would rather you just not go. You know what I mean? That is more polite than asking someone for free. I mean, if you can't afford it, grab, it's all good. Just don't go to the thing or whatever. It's not the end of the world, okay? Like, I would like to think that someone like Drake went to high school with, sends him an Instagram message when he's in their town. And they're like, hey, remember that time we had social studies together? Anyway, congrats on all your success. Can I get into your show tonight? Like, no, you just go buy the ticket. You just go. You can figure it out, okay? There's always that, or the other one is like, okay, I was just in Chicago, and then in, a day after, they're like, when you coming to Chicago? And it's like, man, so frustrating. But that reminds me, if you're busy or not busy on New Year's Eve, I'll be at the Den Theater in Chicago with a bunch of other entertainers, everything from comedians to I don't even know. It's like a whole variety show. It'll be fun. It'll be a great night out. So if you're free New Year's Eve, check that out. Go to thedentheater.com. So one nice thing about being semi-late with the podcast this week is Sunday night, right? This is the thing. The news cycle starts on Mondays, which is so funny to me. Like, the world could be ending on Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, there's nothing. Nobody talks about it. Maybe you hear about it when you're out and about or doing something, but like, unless you have, like, unless something crazy goes on, it seems like it's just the end of the, like it all kind of just falls off into the ether, right? And then Monday morning, first thing in the morning, I put on the news, and I find out that an entire power grid was taken out in North Carolina, and likely intentionally by just somebody shooting it. So according to power companies and the FBI, apparently this is an intentional, like, attack. Like, they knew what they were doing. They knew that by causing this vandalism, they would completely wipe out the power, and it ended up being like 40,000 people without power. I believe there's, at this moment, which my moment of recording this, but right now, they're out without power, which is fucking nuts, man. All you got to do is shoot up a power, like a substation, whatever it's called. And man, if that's not a sign of a deteriorating country, huh? Like, good Lord. I can't believe it's that easy just to wipe out power for 40,000 people. And also, I'm assuming they likely live in the area, right? I mean, that's the kind of shit I would do. Like, I mean, I would never do that. But if I were ever to commit a crime and try to harm people, I would likely end up harming myself in the process by wiping out my own power. Like, so you shoot up the power substation, right? Everybody's without power within 10 miles or whatever the hell it is. And then I get home and I'm like, fuck, I got no power. Son of a bitch. Anyway, did you guys wake up on Saturday morning to watch the United States lose in the World Cup? I mean, we all knew that was... Did you know that was going to happen? I don't know. Like I said, I get into soccer every 4 years like everybody else, where I'm like, oh yeah, I definitely know what offsides is. And as I'm watching the game, I'm like, okay, we're playing the Netherlands. I'm looking up the last... handful of World Cups, which I don't understand why it's every 4 years. I can't tell. Is it because... I mean... The United States, primarily our side of the world, isn't like the biggest, I guess, market for soccer. North America, right? Not the biggest market for professional soccer. But is it just to build up that demand for, because I mean, people in the United States get into it. I mean, it is fun to watch because there's so much on the line, and it is the best, I guess, the highest honor or the highest thing in soccer, right? The highest accomplishment you can get to is the World Cup. That's even more important than the Olympics, I would imagine, to a soccer player at least. But I'm looking up the last handful of World Cups, and the Netherlands seems to always do really well, and they always seem to be pretty good. But so of course we ended up losing, and you're just kind of like, man, I woke up for this. That's my hometown, my home pride right there. And now it's funny, it's kind of like waned off a little bit. I think I may have mentioned this earlier, maybe last week or something, but the World Cup is just so much better in the summer to me. I don't know why. I don't understand. Like around Christmas time, it kind of throws everything off because you're in like holiday mode. You're doing all the family shit and all the shit you do around the holidays, and then it's like, oh great, now I got to squeeze the soccer game in here. And it is a nice change of pace, I guess. But for some reason, it's always been a summer thing to me. it's kind of associated that, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a hater. Maybe it's just because it's soccer. But I think, why don't they do this shit every year? I think that'd be so fun, right? Wouldn't they make more money too? Apparently the next one's going to be in 3 countries, United States, Mexico, and Canada, which is also lame. You know, if you did it every year, you could give each country their own, we could just bop around the world. It wouldn't take 4 years or, 20 years to just visit 4 countries. You know what I mean? What I'm trying to say is this is why I should be in charge of FIFA. Look, I don't hate soccer. I actually like the sport. I watching it is fun too, especially once you start to understand the rules and maybe the stakes, like who's good, like which players are the good players versus the the shitty players. Once you see the stakes at play, and it gets more exciting. But as just your average bullshit American watching soccer, it's actually grown on me a lot. And as a relatively new fan to the sport, you know what really bothers me? And I get embellishment. I understand that. I understand every sport has it. They always kind of play it up for the refs. Any sort of minor injury becomes I've lost a limb. But wasting 6 minutes of game time just on a bruised shin, like you got kicked in the shin, man. And don't get me wrong. These guys are still, even though they're playing soccer, they're still a million times tougher than I am, okay? Running full speed, trying to kick the ball and accidentally hitting the shin is probably one of the worst pains. Even though you have shin guards, probably one of the worst pains you can feel, right? Because, I've rolled my ankle, okay? I have stubbed my toe on the coffee table, and I have been out of commission for at least an hour, okay? You're just kind of like, son of a bitch. You're freaking out. That'll ruin your week, dude. If you hit the right toe on a coffee table, it's done. And the shin, dude, I've hit my shin on the corner of the bed before. Worst pain you'll ever feel. So, that being said, I understand the embellishment, but the screaming. Dude, this guy was screaming like he was getting his legs sawed off. And then the medics come over and they're like, oh my God, this must be pretty bad, huh? And then they just lay there for a minute and they just walk off. I hate that. There's something in me, and like football's the same way, okay? Sure, they're hitting their head more, and I don't even think that's necessarily tough. I think it's kind of stupid because it just fucks up their head so much. You know what I mean? Like, and I love football. I love like American football, but it's just like watching them, I'm like, at the end of the day, this is pretty stupid that these people are playing this game. Okay, their health is at risk. Another thing I noticed, and I have a lot of questions about, and I didn't do any research as a true podcaster would do, but is there not an issue with CTE in soccer players with all the headers that they're doing? They are really throwing that ball around. There were like 5 headers in a row, like, head to head to head to head to head, and it was kind of funny and impressive. Sorry about my scatterbrained podcast here, but what I'm trying to say is I think Americans would be more interested in soccer if it was maybe a little less played up, Because that's the one thing that I'm just like, dude, just get off the field. Let's keep playing, okay? Like, quit wasting. Like, I'm not worried about you, okay? You're going to be fine. Get off the field, okay? And I talk a lot of smack, okay? I was on Instagram. I made some joke about how soccer players are, the 3 worst pains in this life are childbirth, falling in a soccer game, and stepping on a Lego, okay? Stepping on a Lego is somehow less painful than falling in a soccer game, right? And somebody said somebody's name, some soccer player who had like a heart attack on the field or something. And they're like, what about this guy? And I'm like, well, shit, okay. Like, yeah, that happens in every sport. I'm just saying, chill with the act outs, okay? Anyway, thanks for listening. This has been another edition of Weekend UpNate on a Monday, and I gotta figure out. I don't even know if this is worth mentioning, but I was thinking about changing the name of the podcast, but I'm not sure. I don't know. Anyway, if you guys have any thoughts on that, changing it up a little bit, maybe changing the intro and doing a whole little revamp of the podcast, let me know. Go to weekendupnate.com. there's a contact form. You can send all sorts of messages. You can tell me you hate me. You can tell me you think podcasts are dumb, which, sure, you got a point. But I would love to hear from you. Go to weekendupnate.com and let me know. All right. Talk to you next week.
You've been listening to the Weekend UpNate with Nate Armbruster, and you liked it, didn't you? If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review, and be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Weekend UpNate.
Bye-bye.